The owners of this car were woken up by the car alarm, only to find it already engulfed in flames. Is your oil and antifreeze ready to take on the freezing temperatures? You can find down limbs like this one, large limbs, throughout the city of Hannibal. Nearly 40 people have already registered, and we still have an hour before the caucuses even begin. In fact, the salad bar has already been cleaned out for the night, and all the areas scrubbed. There are near whiteout conditions in pretty much all of the area, causing problems for not only residents. It is cold out here. My temperature gauge is reading a very chilly 15 degrees. Dogs like Bogey here can cost hundreds of dollars a year to feed. Drivers beware. This school zone sign also means pay attention and put down your cell phone. Police say they're getting more and more complaints about phone use, and they're taking action. If kids are around and police see your phone, you could be getting a ticket.
There's close calls every day.
Jill Baker works as a crossing guard near Madison Elementary. She sees drivers breaking the law all the time by using their phones in the school zone. Baker says it needs to stop now before a child gets hurt.
You have to be aware of what's going on. You cannot take it for granted.
Police are stepping up patrols to catch drivers using their phones. Officer Timothy Bixel patrols a different school zone every day, and other officers are doing the same.
You're writing tickets. It'll cost you money to use your cell phone in the school zone.
The fine is $120 for using your phone when kids are present between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. on a school day. If you're speeding, the fine is even higher, and you have to go to court.
People just aren't paying attention while they're driving, and that's critical whenever you're driving, especially in the school zone.
Parents say they're glad to see the law being enforced so kids can be safe on their way to and from school.
Yeah, people really need to stop doing that. It can cause, major distractions.
Now, again, the law says you can't use your cell phone when driving through school zones between 7 a.m. and 4 p.m. on school days when children are present. The police say they're taking this law very seriously, and you should too. Reporting live in Quincy, Kaitlyn Rowney, WGEM News.
Things will never be the same for us.
The house Betty Rollins and her husband called home for 30 years is gone, destroyed by a wind-fueled fire in a matter of minutes.
We've been married for 58 years, and the best part of our life we plan to spend here.
Firefighters from multiple fire departments battled the flames for hours this afternoon as high winds kept rekindling the blaze.
This wind was a major concern. As soon as the tones went off, regardless of whatever, if it had a blaze, it was a concern.
Firefighters also had to take care of small brush fires that kept igniting as the wind spread embers from the burning house.
We've gotten very lucky that the brush on the other side of this house did not take off with all the conservation land across the road.
As Rollins watched her home burn, she says she's just happy everyone is safe.
We have the clothes on our back, and yes, I'll miss a lot of the material things, especially pictures of my children and the many, many beautiful times we had here. But we'll survive. We're survivors.
Tonight, Rollins and her husband will stay at a hotel provided by the Red Cross. But as for what's next, she says only God knows. The game doesn't stop just because it's hot. But ER nurses say parents and athletes do need to be extra careful to avoid overheating. Getting too hot can have serious consequences. With the sun beating down, kids play ball. Parents on the sidelines say it can be hard to keep the kids hydrated.
They'll just play, especially if they're on a team like this, they'll play no matter how hot it is.
But ER nurses say stopping for water while playing is crucial. Dehydrated kids can quickly develop heat exhaustion.
They can feel very ill. They need to go to a cool place. They need to drink plenty of fluids, just water, water, water.
In severe cases, overheating can even lead to heat stroke.
Heat stroke is you're heading into the area of complete dehydration, and you can start getting into organ failure with that. Heat stroke signs and symptoms: if they're not sweating, if they're not acting like themselves, if they're what we call lethargic, just totally asleep very sleepy, hard to arouse.
You don't have to be playing sports to get too hot. Sitting on the sidelines can be just as dangerous.
Sometimes you get so focused on that game that you kind of lose track of yourself. So a lot of those bleachers are directly in the sunlight, so you need to find a shady area and cool off frequently.
Kay Peter says as long as it's this hot, she'll be keeping a close eye on her grandsons and drinking water herself, too.
I'm going to be glad this weekend when it cools off.
Now, ER nurses say if you do suspect heat stroke, call an ambulance immediately. Heat stroke can lead to seizures and even death. It was a day of tornado watches throughout the tri-states, but just 1 hour ago, the last of those watches was canceled. Meteorologist Whitney Williams has been tracking the storms all day from the Storm Track Weather Center. Whitney, what's happening now? The storm system that caused the tornado watches here in the tri-states is the same system that left a path of destruction yesterday across Oklahoma, Kansas, and Nebraska, killing at least 5 people. NBC's Jay Gray has the latest from the hard-hit Woodward, Oklahoma. 2 people are dead after an overnight fire destroyed a home near Beardstown. According to Beardstown Fire Chief, a warning tonight for procrastinators. If you haven't done your taxes yet, time is running out. The tax deadline has been extended this year until Tuesday, and for some people, they're needing all the extra time they can get. WGEM's Chris Pavlish reports. Well, if you haven't filed yet or you're filing for an extension, you may want to consider electronic filing. Filing online lets you know immediately if your return was accepted by the IRS. Well, spring is in full swing, and with it comes the first Great River Honor Flight of the year. 27 World War II veterans. Do you ever review businesses or restaurants online? Hear why writing a bad review could have very real consequences for you. The next time you jump on your phone or computer and leave an online review for a company, be warned. You might get a phone call or email from the business asking you to take it down. Sound surprising? We found some companies are now fighting back against negative critiques. WGEM's Natalie Will has the story. Urban Spoon says while it wants and depends on customer reviews to operate, consumers should remember that businesses sometimes make mistakes. I'm glad to have the tornadoes behind us and sun ahead of us. Looks great.
Yes,
Thanks,
it
Whitney.
does.
Dylan, what's ahead?
All the rain Whitney talked about.
Everyone thinks their pet is special, but this dog may just take the cake. Meet Giant George. That's it for us tonight. Join the morning crew in the morning. Hope you have a great night.